proof of reincarnation.
Lamar's halftime performance, Drake has been laying.
This big bitch right here take out the earth? No.
I don't know if you knew this, but the Matrix is falling apart right now. That means that the vibration of fear, scarcity, lack, survival mode is falling apart. That means that people are being asked to let go of everything that is not love. So this is why you're maybe experiencing the end of relationships. Maybe you don't feel called to doing your current job anymore. Anybody else having a bunch of callings to like flip their lives upside down, or is it just me? You don't have to be a conspiracy theorist to know that something is fucking going on. And lucky for you, I am a conspiracy theorist, and I know that something has been going on for a really long fucking time. We're existing in a spiritual war right now where evil is going against the light type of thing. But it's also happening within us. So all of your shadow aspects, all of those aspects that you shame and you guilt yourself about, they're coming to light right now so you can love them fully, so you can let them go. That's also what's happening in our world, whether you see it or not, whether you have gone into the rabbit holes or not. The evil that has been controlling this world behind closed doors is being wiped out. And a lot of us are feeling this shift, and we don't know what to do to enjoy our lives, to feel fulfilled, to feel peaceful and like just happy, I guess. On March 8th, I will be hosting a workshop called Navigating the Shift, where I will provide you with all of the tools that you need right now to chill the fuck out. I know when we go into conspiracies, it's so easy to get wrapped up in fear and wondering, and is it ever going to happen? Are we ever going to see the changes? Is evil really being wiped out? It is, but that takes some time. So instead of focusing on the outside world so much, I want to show you the things that you can do to reclaim that inner peace within yourself while all of the external reality catches up to you. I have not had the traditional path that most people are put on, which is going to school, getting a job, and no one wants to do that anymore. And you're not crazy, you're not fucking weird, it's not that you don't fit in. It is only because your soul knows that you are here for something bigger. Your soul knows that you are here to build the bridge in between the old world and the new world. If you want to hear more about that, well, I highly suggest you do the workshop. Like, it's a Saturday. What fucking cooler way to spend your Saturday? I just know how it can be so overwhelming to have access to so much information and not know what to trust and like, is this true? Is this real? It's taking too long. This is where it is so important to recenter and just go within and tune out the external noise. And just join the workshop because there's so much I gotta say about this.
I have a feeling that I can do all of this without joining the workshop. But hey, we've gotten videos of this lady before. She doesn't even follow what she says. She just does whatever she wants. So if you're gonna try and join the workshop, I'm gonna save you a lot of money here. Hey, just do whatever you want. That's basically all you need to do. Welcome back, goons. You're watching Explore the Weird. It sounds like Laula here is coming to fruition. She's like, this is it. Evil is finally coming into the light and there's not going to be any evil anymore, or like we're going to be the people that push to the new world and we're going to be the new leaders of the... Nah. This is the Goon timeline. Everything's going to be fine. We're going to keep progressing. Don't change a thing. Just keep doing what feels right. That's it. That's literally it. Hey. Sorry, did I already do the intro? We got more creepy, weird, strange for you page content. Let's get right into it.
Yeah, let's go to the mountain. Yeah.
This is bizarre. A pair of monkeys suddenly died at a Connecticut zoo. How is that bizarre? Get ready. Because these cute little monkeys were killed by toxic rats. You heard me right. Toxic rats. Like these things that you can see running around New York City, San Francisco, LA, or any other dump. Yeah, now we gotta be worried if they're toxic. According to that Connecticut zoo, an autopsy performed on the two monkeys revealed a toxic rodent control in both their bodies, which caused sudden death. Toxic rodent control? Like rat mind control? These sweet little monkeys didn't deserve anything like that. But I got some real questions. Is it a toxin that comes from rats? Or is the zoo suggesting rats are using mind control? Either way, rats carrying toxin isn't good. I hope the deaths of these monkeys isn't the first sign in some new disease on the horizon, especially if it's a disease carried by rats. There's more rats in these cities than there are people. Let's just hope for the best, Brewskis. Shabadoo!
Guys, Guys, I actually know about this one. This has happened in New England, Connecticut. I was going to take Kyra to this zoo, but then, things happen. So what it was the monkeys did pass, and they believe it's because they ingested a toxic rat control, which is like bait that rats or mice eat, and then they get unalived. And I believe the monkeys somehow got into that bait, which they were using for the rat control, and unfortunately the monkeys passed. But yeah, it's not really mind control of the rats. It's literally something that's like the wasp spray, except it's like mice bait, and they call it rodent control. Yeah, it's not rodent mind control, but wouldn't it be cool? Wouldn't it be cool? And then the mice look at Joe and they see the big cheese head, and he's like, "These are God, and we're the mice that..." Sorry, we're gonna keep it going.
You have to see these rocks. They're the Crocono stones. 6,000-year-old big old rocks in ancient France that are still aligned to the solstice. That is the least weird thing about them. They're a perfect rectangle and perfectly aligned to north, south, east, west. To make this make sense, you have to go out on a very far limb and say that the cave dudes who were busy hunting and gathering created a perfect 3-4-5 triangle that we still use today without the help of ancient Greek beardman Daddy Pythagi. It gets weirder. Throughout the year, the sun travels across the horizon. Summer, longest day of the year, is the one end. That is what our stones are aligned to. The opposite end is the winter solstice. Those alignments are shown by the Temple of the Sun in Machu Picchu and Newgrange in Ireland. Dead center is the equinox courtesy of Angkor Wat. Here is how you know that you're in a simulation. If you set a building up perfectly east-west, the sun at its solstice will create a perfect 3-4-5 triangle. The same triangle in the 6,000-year-old rectangle. Angkor Wat makes it super easy. Nothing in Angkor Wat is random. It is perfectly aligned to east and west. The winter solstice is aligned with one of the back towers. The summer solstice is aligned with the other tower. When you split that yellow triangle in half, you have the 3-4-5 triangle. Back to France, the Karnak stones. The massive megalithic Karnak stones achieve this over 14 football fields. This entire technique is a forgotten concept called the cosmic egg. Angles of the triangle create that egg. This went all the way to ancient Greece. It's a foundational blueprint of temple science. The snake is the path of the sun that's used to decipher the cosmic egg. You'd know that if you had Antiquitex. Part 3 is going to rock your world. But if you can't wait for another hit of Epiphany, then I have a surplus of this useless information. It is, once again, haircut time. Somebody help.
Wait, your hair is fine. You don't need a haircut. You stop it. Don't let them tell you. Those are neural receptors that are growing out of your skull, and you're in tune with even more because you got that long hair. Sorry. I like everything this guy says. He's a cymatics guy. Good to know that there's geometric alignment happening with our cosmonaut theories as well. I don't know. There's some alignments happening, and they're like, everything's aligned, and now everything's gonna be the things, and we just need to turn all the temples on, and then boom, free energy everywhere. Let's turn the temples on, let's turn the pyramids on, let's turn all the things on. Hey, yeah, we're gonna keep it going.
You look at other versions of Baphomet, the drawings that Hammer Purgstall has in his book from 1818 influenced Eliphas Levi. Those also have hermaphroditic being, but it's really just maybe a woman because it has kind of a vaginal slit, but it has a beard too. But you don't see a penis. What I'm calling a vaginal slit, well, there's no hair around it, and it could also just be a hole, like from where the penis used to be. So this is sort of my revised understanding of Baphomet. When I look back at him now, I realize he's very much like Cybele.
I am completely not sure what the gender was, but definitely intriguing. Maybe it just got cut off. You don't know.
Okay, this is how you survive a nuclear bomb. So when I was like 7 or 8, I was really afraid of atomic bombs and nuclear bombs. Some people are afraid of ghosts or spiders. That was just my thing. But as a result, I learned like everything I could about how to survive one if one was detonated. And I know it sounds crazy, but there's actually a couple things you can do that really increase your odds. Unfortunately, if you're within a mile of the actual explosion, you're in the fatality zone. Like nothing you can do will help, you will be incinerated. But if you're outside of that range, what you do really does matter. Unfortunately, you will be able to see the actual light from the explosion before the shockwave hits you. So if you ever see a really, really bright flash of light on the horizon, here's what you're supposed to do. By the time you see the flash, you have about 3 to 5 seconds to take cover. In most cases, you won't be able to find something to shelter behind or under before the blast gets to you. So you basically want to dive onto the ground, onto your belly, ideally with your head away from the blast of light. Then you want to cover your eyes with the palms of your hand and plug your ears with your fingertips. This is to put as much flesh as possible over your eyes so you don't go blind, and plug your ears so the shockwave doesn't burst your eardrums. You also want to grit your teeth but leave your lips open like this, so that way your jaw doesn't break when it snaps shut from the pressure, and also your lips aren't sealed to make sure that the pressure differential between your inside and outside doesn't burst your lungs when the shockwave goes over. After the blast goes over you, hopefully you're all right. You have about 10 to 20 minutes to seek shelter from the fallout, and there's a bunch of stuff you can do with that, but I'm trying to keep this video short, so that will be in a part.
This is amazing, and here I am watching Indiana Jones thinking all I need is a refrigerator, and I just go into the refrigerator and that's how I survive. Yeah, it's a scene in the movie. He literally jumps into a refrigerator and survives a nuclear blast. It happens. It happens. Can you do spontaneous human combustion next? Because that's my fear. I don't want to just explode and go up in flames, but at the same time, very interesting.
Someone needs to make a movie on Frankie Muniz's life because it's been such a fever dream thus far. Most people remember Malcolm in the Middle as the role that broke Frankie Muniz into the mainstream. But what most people don't know is that Frankie Muniz got a concussion while filming the pilot for this show. Despite Frankie having a concussion during the pilot, Malcolm in the Middle was an immediate success for Fox as it aired its first episode to approximately 23 million viewers. With Malcolm in the Middle steadily becoming more and more popular throughout the years, the show lasted 7 seasons. By the end of the series, Frankie Muniz became one of the highest paid child actors of all time, making $150,000 per episode. By age 15, Frankie Muniz had become so famous to the point where he was a household name among young Hollywood, to the point where he was given the opportunity to live a life that 15-year-old boys could only dream of. As he would constantly go to the Playboy Mansion to hang out, become the first person to ever get punked by Ashton Kutcher, have an insane car collection, and drive the pace car on the now infamous 2001 Daytona 500, where he met and had a pleasant conversation with Dale Earnhardt just hours before he tragically lost his life in a fatal accident on the last lap of the race. After witnessing such a tragedy, one would think that this would pull anyone away from wanting to race cars, but this had the exact opposite effect on Frankie Muniz, as he was coming off the heels of some of his biggest movies to date, such as Big Fat Liar and both of the Agent Cody Banks movies. He not only competed in, but won a celebrity stock car race in 2004. This led to him taking his career as a race car driver serious to the point where he signed a deal with a racing team on the BMW Formula circuit in 2006. In 2008, Frankie was still in the prime of his acting career, but he threw it all away to chase his dreams of becoming a big-time race car driver. That is until Frankie was forced to hang up his racing career 1 year later when he broke his back in a car accident. A couple years after the accident, Frankie became a drummer and joined a band that opened up on tour for some guy named Ed Sheeran. It's likely that Frankie had left the band around this time because he was going through what was prescribed to him as mini strokes. Come to find out, the mini strokes that Frankie had been dealing with for years were just a misdiagnosis. They were actually aura migraines. Once 2017 hit, Frankie Muniz joined Dancing with the Stars and somehow made it to the finale with no prior dancing experience. While Frankie Muniz was on Dancing with the Stars, the producers of the show fabricated a story making it look like he had severe memory loss due to the fact that he has 9 concussions, when in reality he doesn't. It's insane how many lives Frankie Muniz has lived in just 39 years of living because he's been on some outrageous side missions, such as owning parking lots while he was starring on Malcolm in the Middle, and later on in 2018 he owned an olive oil company, later selling both of these businesses for a profit. Later on in that year in 2018, Frankie Muniz's cat flooded his 5-story brownstone house, leaving millions of dollars in damages while Frankie was away at his uncle's funeral. 2 days after Frankie's cat flooded his house, he got engaged. That is a crazy turnaround. If you fast forward to today, Frankie Muniz is more successful than ever, as it was recently announced that Frankie's going to be starring in the reboot of Malcolm in the Middle that's set to come out here soon. And Frankie's also made a return to being a professional race car driver, with him currently being
Oh my God, there's going to be a Malcolm in the Middle too? Do you know there's going to be a Goonies too? Oh my God, there's so many things happening. Oh my God, we don't even need a documentary. This guy did a great summary on what's exactly happened with Frankie and all the things that he's been doing or has done. Wow, I knew about the band. And I think he was married to Brenda Song or something. She's also from like Disney Channel. I watched her on Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Big Disney Channel fan. Sounds like this guy was the original Justin Bieber and he's really seen the things, and he's probably knows even more. I wonder if he knows anything about the Diddler or was there someone before the Diddler? Because Diddler got Justin. Who got Frankie?
Cloud chasing's a disease, but it didn't start with us. You remember that time a woman violated multiple rabbits just for some attention? Mary Toff was an English woman going through a rough time. The time being the 1700s. There was no TikTok, IG, you couldn't even make a respectable career selling nothing but fans. So the story goes, she had 3 kids and was halfway to a 4th, and it was during her pregnancy that she developed an obsession with rabbits. As in, she saw one in the field and never let it go. A few weeks later, her hormone said it was rabbit season. She wanted rabbit meat, rabbit pie, rabbit stew, rabbit fried, roasted, toasted, sometimes poached. She wanted rabbits in every kind. A couple months later, she went into labor, and like a perverted magician, she pulled a rabbit out of her took a left turn to Albuquerque, but he wasn't last. Mary would pop out rabbit after rabbit after rabbit after rabbit. The family midwife reached out to the best doctors, and one man, Swiss surgeon Nathaniel St. Andre, he saw it and said, other doctors looked and they were like, but Andre wasn't having it. This was a miracle of life, and he wasn't going to let someone else take credit. So he took some of the rabbits to the king. He was going down with the ship. The king sent his men to see for themselves, and at this point, there were multiple eyewitnesses of that. But as more doctors got involved, they started accusing Mary and Andre of fraud. But Mary insisted. One of the doctors was like, we can tell if you're lying. We just got to cut you open. Mary was like, I'm poor. I'll tell you myself. I lied. Yeah, she had been shoving expired rabbits up her south mouth and pretended to birth them. And she did this well over 20 times. I guess the plan was to parlay the fame into money and easy living. But Mary would be shamed and ridiculed into oblivion. You know, after being arrested. Andre's career after would have less pulse than the rabbits did. And some man got cuckooed by a dead Bugs Bunny. Moral of the story? I don't have one. The more you know.
Yeah, I have read this story. This is just sad, but it's documented, so it clearly happened at some point. Luckily, no one else is doing this, and no one else believes this. Like, we don't have women in our modern century going, hey, I gave birth to a gecko and a reptile. Oh my god. Hey, it's that time. I forgot to say it earlier. We need your interaction. Other goons interacted with other videos before this one. You need to interact with this video and future videos, so that way we find all the goons, because there's goons out there, just like you, that are wondering, is there any other reactors I can watch other than just the ones I'm watching? Yes, there are. We need your interaction. Help us out. Help the goons out. Thank you.
If you want to go back 600, 700, 800 years to like the Gothic cathedrals, it depended on carpentry work, because you cannot build a stone vault without having forming. And that was all the carpenters. And the thing is you see the masonry work, but you don't see the carpentry work after, because once the masonry is up and set, all of the scaffolding and form work comes down, right? So you don't appreciate how incredibly complex some of these ancient carpentry skills were.
Yeah, I feel like everything Randall said is accurate. We don't know. We don't know because they took down all the scaffolding and we don't actually understand how they got everything up. Hey, or it really was ancient tech. We'll see. We got that goon time machine, we're going to find out.
Our birthday could be the date that we died in our past life. Do you believe in reincarnation? If reincarnation is real, how do you know you're not walking by your old family members every day? So you mean to tell me I could be having a conversation with an old lady right now, and that old lady could be my sister in my past life? Once you understand the numbers to the Matrix, everything will start to make sense. Maybe this is the reason why the Matrix always use numbers, because there is a certain hidden number they don't want us to know about. If you really think about it, numbers have a lot of power over all of us. Our birthdays, social security numbers, our license plate, our address, number controls everything. Reason why the Matrix give us all these numbers is because they're trying to distract us from the real secret number. Once you figure out this number, you will see who you was in your past life. Keep trying to tell people we've been here for thousands of years. Same spirit, different bodies, different names, but the same energy. Remember, Hollywood have to tell us the truth.
When I died, I went somewhere. I was in the building. I was there. I could hear the people. They were stuck.
Zoe, that was a dream. It's a traumatic memory from your childhood. It's not real.
That's what I thought. I couldn't wake up. I was stuck. It was endless. I tried. It went on, and every day I was there. It was the same over.
I feel like you went down deep underground. Oh boy, she went to H-E-L-L. I haven't seen that movie, but yeah, I believe in reincarnation. Very well it could be. Hey, you could be every single person's biological family tree in some past life, in some timeline. You don't know. You literally don't know. And at the same time, what if we're just avatars of the same character, just going from body to body in every single one? And that literally means that we can be every avatar, every sim. I can play anyone I want in every timeline, every life. Interesting. I play a lot of video games. I can totally see me changing characters.
Sitting in the sauna today, and since your phone will fucking explode if you bring it in there, I bring books or comic books in to entertain me, because I'm in there for a fucking while. And this older guy walks in and he kind of mutters something under his breath at me. And I said, I'm sorry? And he goes, well, don't you think it's kind of childish to be reading comic books? And I said, no. It brings me happiness. Does that bother you? He goes, well, someday you're going to grow out of it and realize it's for kids. And I said, well, then I guess I'll be a kid who benches 290. Have you seen one of those before? And he goes, well, no. And I said, yeah. So leave me alone. It's not hurting you. But I do not understand this incessant need to critique what other men do in their own fucking free time. And if you ask me, it's because they never realized that they had a choice. You can fucking do both. Yeah, I bench 290 and I fucking read Batman Hush in the goddamn sauna. Does that bother you? I deadlift almost 500 fucking pounds and I wear hoochie daddy shorts. My PB bass is almost 10 pounds. If you fish in the Midwest, you know that's fucking crazy. And yet, I let my girlfriend put nail polish on my nails sometimes because it looked nice. If that bothers you, you need to take a long, hard look in the goddamn mirror. For the people who are so fucking willing to call other people betas and sheep, you guys follow the word of people you think are more masculine than you and will only do the hobbies that they say is okay. Do you not get the hypocrisy in that? So until you reach that level of self-awareness, shut the fuck up. These people who talk about how they love to read comic books when they were a kid, guess what? You still can. It doesn't make you less of a man.
Dude, that was so beautifully said, and it's the point that I always try to make. Tammy, did you see that shit?
Did I see it? I'm fucking soaked.
I completely understand. Tammy's soaked, all right? She's doing the goon things. Interesting, 100%. That guy is a gym bod, and he can bench 290. That is very impressive, actually. Oh, my God. I can barely get to 135, and this guy's at 290. Dang. Yeah. Read all the books. Hey, you want to read the comic books? Read the comic books. You want to read the manga books? You read the manga. You read whatever you want. You literally watch all the things.
Let me blow your mind. You are a piece of God experiencing himself here on earth. And when I say God, the universe, the source, life, the quantum field, however you want to call it, you are a piece of God experiencing himself here in the third dimension. God is fifth dimension. Someone else is also a piece of God experiencing themselves. The thing is that none of you know it. You don't remember, they don't remember. All right? So, when you do something to someone else, such as lying, the information of your action is out there in the field. And because the field is shared, they are getting it. They may not consciously know that you're lying, but they know. Did it ever happen to you that someone, I don't know, lies or cheats on you and you feel it? You get a feeling. You usually call it intuition. You get a feeling and you cannot pinpoint it or anything, but you know. That is because that information is also in your field. It's like the waves in the ocean. You see the waves and they look separate, but they are all a part of the same ocean. You cannot contaminate one wave and not contaminate the others because there's no actual separation. The separation between the waves is an illusion, right? They are all the same ocean. So the same thing happens here. Whatever information, for example, a lie, you are putting in the field towards them, because the field is shared, they will get it. They may not find out that you're lying, but they will have a feeling. Energetically, they will know. Something else that happens is that because they are a piece of God and you are a piece of God, and this separation is simply an illusion of the third dimension, when you do something to them, you are inevitably doing it to God. And because you are also God, you are inevitably doing it to yourself. So you may do something to someone else and think, oh, I got away with it because they didn't consciously find out. But then something happens to you, something of the same energetic frequency. And you may be like, oh, I had bad luck. It is not bad luck. There's no such thing. It is simply what you put out there inevitably coming back to you, because the out there is yourself. The out there is you. You don't remember that. You think that you can do something to someone else and stay safe. Whatever you do, whether it's good or bad, is going to come back. For example, if you lie to someone else, you may think you got away with it, but in reality, the energetic information is there. There is no lying to God.
But we're the God ourselves, you just said. That in fact, when we are lying, we're just lying to ourselves, and the other person also turned into ourselves, so we're also... I feel like the moral of the story, just don't lie. Don't die. Don't die. Don't lie. Don't lie. That's it. That solves all the problems. Hey, build up the positive karma. You already know how. Interact.
This isn't like some mystery movie or Goldfinger or James Bond. This is really going on. This is wild. This is historic.
With gold, and I've been following the comics. There's something going on with gold, and nobody really knows what it is. Somebody here in the United States is buying a crap load of gold. Somebody is taking huge physical deliveries, and it's causing shortages in London, where they buy and sell gold. There's shortages now of gold because somebody is buying it and shipping it here. Somebody with very deep pockets. Okay, so why? Now, this is all theory. That's fact. Here's the theory of what's going on. They're preparing for a full-on gold audit. We talked about this yesterday. The government right now claims on its balance sheet as an asset all of this gold, and it's valued at $45 an ounce. In case you haven't heard, it's $2,900 an ounce. So they're talking now about boosting the price of gold, at least market to market, but maybe even making it $5,000 an ounce, okay? If that happens, the balance sheet starts to fall into line, and our debt to GDP is not as bad as it really is.
Yeah, I mean, you increase the value of the precious metal, then yeah, definitely your debt ratio can come down. But at the same time, that's just inflation, right? So it's like, hey, does your loan also get inflated and the ratio stays the same? There's many things, but 100% something going on with the gold. It sounds like Elon with Doge there is going to try and investigate what's going on with Fort Knox, and they're saying, like, hey, it looks like it weighs the gold bar amount, but they cut it open and it's a different metal in there. It's plated. That's what they say. We'll see.
It is our first large mass stranding of these animals in around 50 years. To try and refloat the animals directly back into that surf would be challenging, and then of course that would also present some enormous safety risks for our staff and personnel.
Does this have anything to do with the poles being changed? Does this have something to do with the aliens in the water? Did they add something in the water that's causing the animals to, like, beach themselves? What's going on? Is it not the aliens in the water? Is it us? Did we do something to the water? What's happening here? What's happening here? This is unfortunate.
This story is so insane. It's almost proof of reincarnation in a weird way. It happened in 1957 in England. It started off when these three kids were on their way to church.
Yeah.
When this crazy lady ended up hitting them with their car. This lady ended up killing these three kids, bro. But the two girls out of those three kids, as they were walking with their friend, they were sisters.
Yeah.
The family was devastated. A year later, the father and mother, they ended up getting pregnant again. But this time they're pregnant with twins.
Oh my God. I think I heard of this.
She ends up having the babies a year later. Twin babies, twin girls. And the weirdest thing is, one of the twins had birthmarks that were similar to their first kid.
Oh.
And not, she had like a birthmark on her left hip.
Yeah.
That her older sister had. And she also had a birthmark on her head that her sister had a scar on her head. And it became a birthmark when technically she got
Reincarnated,
or whatever.
yeah.
While the babies were 3 months old, this family ended up leaving the town that they were from and moved to a different town.
Yeah.
But weirdly enough, as the kids started getting older, they were talking about this city that they've never been to. And the parents never told them about their older sisters or anything like that,
Yeah.
or anything about this town that they used to be from. But they were able to talk about certain like parks that their sisters have went to, that they used to take them to. Kids were requesting to play with toys that the sisters
played with.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
God.
when they turned 4 years old, they took them back to the town that they're from, and the sisters were able to remember
where they died.
No, like the schools that their sisters went to, and they recognized the school. The girl's only 4 years old.
Yeah.
And the craziest thing is, they're terrified of cars.
Really?
Yeah. So a lot of people think
that these new daughters are basically like the old ones. They
yeah,
got reincarnated.
They got
again.
reincarnated into their own sisters.
100% I believe in reincarnation, so it does appear that is exactly what happened, and it is well documented.
On October 19th, 1966, a 10-year-old girl named Etta Mae Jones had a terrible nightmare that she had gone to school, only to discover that it had disappeared and was buried under something black. This wasn't the only unusual event for her. A few days later, she told her mother that she wasn't afraid to die because she would be with Peter and June. Those were the names of 2 former schoolmates who had passed away at a young age. Tragically, she was proven correct when her life and the lives of 143 others in the village were taken in a horrifying disaster. The Welsh village Aberfan became victim to one of the worst mining disasters in history after a spoil tip, a massive heap of coal waste, was sent sliding down the hillside, burying the school where almost all of the village's children were in attendance. 3 years prior, the village's school sent a petition to the National Coal Board complaining about the danger that the spoil tip posed. And although every mining community had spoil tips, this particular one was a problem because it laid on top of porous sandstone with underwater springs beneath. It had already slipped in 1965, but no one was hurt. The NCB didn't want to investigate the problem and suggested that if the town made too much of a fuss, the mine would be permanently closed, which would devastate the town economically. The spoil tip had sank 20 feet by 7:30 on that fateful morning, but had it slid at this point, the number of deaths would have been significantly reduced because the children were not yet in school. Sadly, the mudslide came down the hill at 9:15 and hit 2 schools and destroyed almost 20 houses in the area as well. Hundreds of people tried to dig the school children, teachers, and people who lived nearby out of the wreckage, but it was too late. 144 people had died, 106 being children, in what is now known as the tragedy that cost a village its future generation.
Man, this is so sad, and this is something that happened before, and just because no one got hurt, they didn't investigate and do the things. Oh my God, gotta investigate everything. We need to know the answers and release all the documents. I need to know what you did in the past, so that way I make sure you don't do it in the future. Oh my God, and now there's no mining. Now we just have the leftover tunnels of their things everywhere. Or were the tunnels already there and the miners are... Sorry, we're gonna do a few more.
So after this video surfaces, the actual city of Sydney, Australia is coming for Drake. And this is crazy. So after Kendrick Lamar's halftime performance, Drake has been laying kind of low. But it seems like times are desperate for Drake right now. I mean, he dropped a new album. He's still dissing Kendrick Lamar. But in recent news, Drake was actually caught by somebody with a drone in his Australian penthouse. After one of his concerts, a fan flew a drone up to his penthouse and was just, I guess, spying on what he was doing. Drake was allegedly gambling on his iPad, and then after seeing the drone, he tried to throw the slipper at it, and the slipper went off the side of the balcony, which I'm not even gonna comment on his throw. That was kind of wicked. And this Sydney, Australia water service company actually found Drake's slipper that he threw off the 100th floor balcony, and the city of Australia is actually coming for Drake, saying that he's littering, and they made a comment saying that I hope you're enjoying our beautiful city, so let's keep it that way. And others are slamming Drake for littering into the ocean, saying that he needs to be fined or sued for this. I mean, it also could be dangerous. You're throwing a slipper off of what I'm assuming is like the 130th floor, and that could land on somebody, potentially causing a lot of harm. And now there's a fan trying to sell this on eBay for $2,000 for just one of Drake's slippers that he threw off the balcony. But I don't know. You guys let me know down in the comments if you think Drake should be at fault for this. And if you like this video, don't forget to follow.
Wait, are we sure this is real and not a skit? Even the way he threw the slipper, it felt like he didn't even try to throw it at the drone. But at the same time, he's making good money if this is a skit. And he's reaping the benefits because he's already lost the battle against Kendrick, so this is the only things he can do now. He's got to stay relevant, and this all press is good press. So we're gonna do 3 more.
Could this big bitch right here take out the Earth? No, it's not as big as the dinosaur killer, so that should ease your mind a little bit. Is this big bitch actually this big? We don't know. It could be anywhere between 130 feet to 300 feet. We won't know until probably 2028 because we can only see this big back asteroid from Earth every 4 years. So right now we can see it until about March, and then it will fade away, and then 2028 will roll around and we'll get a better picture of how big she really is. Right now they are saying there's about a 2% chance that this will impact with Earth. There's about a 3% chance that it will impact with the moon. We will not have better guesses until 2028 because there is a 1 in 48 chance that this big girl right here is going to hit us on December 22nd, 2032. The James Webb Telescope is going to be looking at her come March. So we may have a little bit of a better idea then, but still. This is the first time a near-Earth object has been classified as a level 3 on the Torino scale. It's only the second time that the impact prediction system has picked up an asteroid and rated it higher than 1%. The only other time it's happened is in 20 years ago. Now, these are the areas that they are saying that the asteroid could possibly land in. Now, hear me out. There are several possibilities for this asteroid. It could explode once it enters our atmosphere. It could hit solid land, or it could hit in the ocean. Each of these options could provide a very different scenario for Earth. Like if it crashes in the oceans, we could have tsunamis and damage to coastal towns. If it lands in a remote area, we could have forest fires and environmental damage. Now, if it lands in an urban area, it could destroy an entire city by flattening it. Remember earlier I said it has a 3% chance of colliding with the moon? Yeah, if it did that, we would be able to see the explosion from Earth on the moon, and it would create a large crater in the moon. But it shouldn't have any effects on Earth except for maybe some debris. Either way.
Cool story. I feel like 2032 gonna come and I'm still gonna be here continuing doing the goon things, just like you guys that are gonna be doing the goon things 2032. And like Teddy, I'm still watching and interacting. I understand. That's what we gotta do. But yeah, if it is a great reset, let it happen. I'm also ready for the reset.
Back in 2007, the brand Chanel made a product that no other company has even dared to make. Let me explain. So in the early 2000s, designer brands were a lot different than they are today. Designer brands like Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Chanel, they were known as luxury brands that not everybody could get their hands on, and they fought so hard to maintain a good image. And it's rumored that Louis Vuitton back in the early 2000s, this is when the show Jersey Shore was like the biggest thing ever. One of the main characters was known for being ratchet, and she had a Louis Vuitton bag. So Louis Vuitton went as far as sending Snooki a Gucci bag so that she would wear the Gucci bag instead of the Louis bag, because Louis Vuitton did not want a person like that portraying their image on their brands. And this is where the brand Chanel came into play. So back in 2007, Lindsay Lohan was more famous than the president. She was on every commercial, every movie, everywhere you looked, you could not miss Lindsay Lohan. And due to her making some poor decisions, she got put on house arrest. And so Lindsay Lohan had to walk around with an ankle monitor bracelet. And with her in the hot seat with the media and being on house arrest, Lindsay Lohan actually tweeted out to Chanel and told them to make some stickers or something to cover her ankle monitor so that she could dress up. And after this, a few months later, Chanel actually came out with ankle monitor covers. And I'm not kidding. Chanel dropped a whole line of ankle purses that could barely even fit a credit card in them because Lindsay Lohan was on house arrest. And we're talking about Chanel here, the top tier, most luxury brand there is. And they made an ankle monitor collection. I don't know, man. The early 2000s was a crazy time. And if you like this video, don't forget to
Yeah, but how much did they sell the ankle monitor purse for? Maybe that tiny, but they're like, yep, $10,000. Makes sense. Oh my god, and I heard before the ankle monitor covers that they would celebrities would wear casts so that way they wouldn't get shamed for having an ankle monitor. And that was the whole thing. Celebrities in leg casts. Were they really having broken legs, or were they hiding an ankle monitor? These are the real questions. Supposedly Kim Kardashian was. Never mind. We're going to do one more.
Jake, have you retrieved a non-human craft?
Yes, I have.
What's the story behind that?
On this particular night, I got my normal readout for the load. This time it included negative souls on board and a hazmat disclosure for biologics. As I'm flying and I get closer to this craft, I start having this very emotional experience. And the closer I got to the object, the more emotional I got. It was a beautiful feeling. Fuck, but it's so weird. It's like that minor chord as a kid, that sad beauty. I just felt like I was in the presence of my mother. It was like a feminine energy. I don't know what it was, but the closer I got, the more intense it got. I hooked up, and as I'm flying back, I'm like completely overwhelmed. Bawling my eyes out, flying a helicopter at night, like trying not to run into mountains and shit. And I'm like, oh my God, this is not good. As I get close, I make it there, I safely get it popped off, and then as I fly away, it goes away.
Wait, there were biologics in there that made you feel like they were motherly? So like what? You feel like you interacted with the aliens that potentially created us in some other timeline and they're coming back to check in on us, and then you found the UAP and you were like, hey, we need to go do some testing with these things, and you dropped it off at a base, and now you come back and you tell us all the things. We already kind of knew all the things. We know about the aliens. We know they're in the water and they're in the skies, they're in the grounds, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. What do we do with the information? This is the real question. We know it exists. We know they had some purpose. We know they're watching. Do you not know? Oh boy. Oh boy. Hey, guess what? You made it to the end. Hey, I understand if you're like all over the place just like me. I get it. I get it. I'm always all over the place, but that's the beauty of this timeline. You can literally do whatever you want. You can enjoy all the things that you want to. You can ignore all the things that you want to. You do you. You do you. Don't let anyone else change you. Hey, there should be videos on the screen right now. Click on either one of them to continue the Goon Fix. The one in the middle, you can subscribe. I will see you guys next time. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up.